Ave, true to Christ. Hey everybody, this is Charitable Christianity, and today we are going to be reacting to, throw this out of the way, we are going to be reacting to a video on Martin Luther that my friend and Rex in the Discord had shared. So we're going to see what it's like, and I've never actually watched this video, so this should be fun.
A most precise and nuanced look into the life of the man, legend and visionary Martin Luther. Sir. One day, when Luther is 21 years old, he experiences something which will affect him for the rest of his life. Suddenly, a thunderstorm erupts, a wild, violent one. Luther is terrified of being struck by lightning and dying, because all his life he has been told that he must earn a place in heaven when he dies, and he doesn't think he has done that quite yet. So he falls to his knees to pray, not to God.
Already they've screwed it up where it's like they have to earn a way to heaven.
But to Saint Anna, so that she might ask God to look after him. And Luther promised that if God would see him safely through the thunderstorm, he would offer the rest of his life to God by becoming a monk. Luther.
So one of the things that you guys probably know about National Geographic is they can be really bad in telling history. And this is one of those cases where they've already misrepresented Catholic talking points, where this idea that I don't remember Luther ever believing that Catholics earn their way to heaven, especially since he was a Catholic for most of his life, until he decided to reform. But the other issue is that this idea that praying to Saint Anna so she'll be able to reach out to God is just a misunderstanding of the prayers to the saints and has nothing to do with what Luther believes.
Cannot understand it if God's intention is really for poor people to spend all their money buying their way out of punishment so they can go to heaven. And why should it be easier for the rich to avoid a long time in purgatory than it is for the poor? He thinks it's way too much about money and too little about God when priests sell letters of indulgence with slogans such as, "When the coin in the coffer clings, the soul from purgatory springs." Luther wants to discuss this with other monks and priests, so he writes 95 theses and nails them to the church door in Wittenberg where he lives. The church door, you see, acts as a form of bulletin board and is a completely normal way to put things up for debate. Luther is allowed to defend himself at a trial in the city of Worms. The church hopes that Luther will withdraw what he said and wrote, so that everything can return to normal. But Luther will not. He maintains that if no one can prove him wrong through arguments or quotes from the Bible, he must be right.
I'll have to post my video about the 95 theses that I had on my old channel after this.
I cannot act against my conscience, Luther says. Not many in the audience have heard the word conscience before, but they are in no doubt as to whether Luther stands firm on his beliefs or not. As a result, they declare him an outlaw. This means that anyone now has a duty to catch him and hand him over to the authorities.
This telling of history is just such like a revisionist story.
After Luther has been outlawed, he is forced to hide. He hides at his friend Elector Frederick's castle, Wartburg. Up until then, the Bible has only existed in Greek and Latin. While hiding at Wartburg, Luther translates the entire New Testament into German. Luther wants people to have the opportunity to read the Bible in their own language, so they do not depend on the priests and the church's interpretation. Because Luther sees the Bible as God speaking to all people.
Well, one of the interesting things about Luther is that he believed that there was like I think it was James was the epistle of straw. He thinks that it didn't really hold up. He didn't really believe per se in the deuterocanonical canon, and I think he also believed that Ruth was an issue as well. But he still put all that in his first, like his translation that he made, the German translation. And he did put the deuterocanonical books in their own separate section, but he still kept in James. So he still saw the value in those books. A lot of people try to say that Martin Luther removed those books from the Bible, but no. In his first translation, he actually had a separate section for the deuterocanonical canon.
When people get access to reading the Bible themselves, they also begin to use the words of the Bible as an argument for all sorts of things. Luther has started something he cannot control.
Yep.
His new thoughts are used as arguments in the power struggles of princes, in revolts, and in the struggle between kings, princes, and the Pope about who actually decides what. Soon, everyone is quarreling and fighting. Some even go to war. Luther had dreamt about changing the church, he knew. But his thoughts ended up splitting the church in two. The Catholic Church and the Protestant Church. And that soon becomes important for...
Some extra thing I have to talk about is they're acting like Catholic and Protestants were the only two halves of the church. And this is actually a pretty good visual. I like it. But there had been many other groups that had split off before. You know, the Assyrian Church, the Coptic Church, the Eastern Orthodox Church. Those are some easy, quick ones I can name that split off. And then much later, you would have the Protestant Reformation happen. So, and then that led to them splitting off into multiple denominations as well, into Anglican, Presbyterian, and Lutheran. And then from those, splitting off. And then even like the Baptists splitting off as well from the Protestant Church and the many wars that the Protestant Reformation had with the Anabaptists. There's crazy history, man.
Many other things than the church.
Also, at the end of Luther's life, he definitely regretted the choice he made, and he felt like people were just taking whatever they wanted out of the Bible instead of doing what his original intention was to bring the church back from the mistakes it was making. I'll post it tomorrow, but I'll have my 99 Thesis video where I went over Martin Luther's 99 Thesis before I was confirmed, and I just thought that it was really goofy, and it told us a lot about, I think that a lot of it was like personal motivated reasons on why Luther was having issues with these, and he had weird views about the church. But that is everything, guys. Feel free to tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Peace be with you all, and blessings to all of you.